Olivia McGreevy joins us here now. Hope everything is well, Olivia. How are you today?
I'm doing good, Andrew. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be talking on this thing again.
Absolutely. We're so glad to have you. Olivia was at the Rolling Stones concert, and I just wanted to ask a little bit about how the concert went.
It was phenomenal. I mean, to see a band like that in person and to experience their energy and to see their set, and it was just hit after hit after hit. You expect that, but to actually see it was once in a lifetime. Honestly, I feel very fortunate that I got to experience their presence and everything, and just to be able to say I've seen them with my own eyes,
Absolutely, and I want to know a little bit about the concert itself more in detail. So, what songs did the crowd go nuts for? What were your thoughts on seeing Mick Jagger and Keith Richards perform live on stage? Can you give me a little more detail about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So just to start off, they started off with Start Me Up, which was a hit. So just to see them, and again, it wasn't like every other band. I feel like there's kind of a countdown. There's always a build-up to the band coming on stage, but with them, they just had announcers say, "Here's the Rolling Stones," and they walked out on stage and started, and the crowd just absolutely lost their minds in that moment. But from there, the first few songs, it was I think it went Start Me Up, It's Only Rock and Roll, and Let's Spend the Night Together. Those three songs themselves, everybody was really going crazy. And they also did, a lot of artists recently have been doing surprise songs or songs that the crowd vote on, and they had their own kind of version of that. And the song that the crowd voted on for our show was Heartbreaker, and you could tell obviously it won, so the majority of the people voted for that, really got into that, and I think it was just special that I think probably do it at other shows too, but that was the song that we got to hear at our concert, so people really enjoyed that. And there was also a section of the show that Mick Jagger kind of went off the stage and Keith took over. And it was a stretch of, I think, two or three songs. And just to hear his actual guitar playing, in person, and just him taking over the stage, because obviously, Mick's going to have great stage presence, and it's a known thing, and with both of them. But to see him have his moment on stage for himself, that was unreal. Seriously, one of the coolest things I've ever experienced. And Mick, I mean, I've only seen one other stadium show in my life. This is my second time seeing something at First Energy. The way that Mick Jagger fills up the stadium with his energy is, I said this before, nothing you'll see again. It comes close. There's other artists, but you can tell the influence just watching him he's had on other people. I see it in so many different aspects of music now, but to see him in person was amazing.
The other thing I want to know about a little bit about the show is just the local ties to Cleveland. It's been since 2002 since the Rolling Stones last performed here. Was there any kind of local twists and turns that were performed on stage during the show to give that Cleveland feel maybe from the Rolling Stones?
Kind of. They did mention a lot of how they had not been here in 22 years. And they really talked about how much they appreciated Cleveland and how they always loved playing here, and they shouted out some of the smaller venues that they had and stuff like that. And they talked about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and that was really cool to hear, because I know during the day the Rock Hall was packed with Rolling Stones fans. So to have them recognize that on such a huge stage with thousands and thousands of people in the audience, it was just really cool to hear that recognition of how much they love Cleveland and love the city, and they know where they started and where they are today. So that was really cool to hear.
What do you think the historical significance of this show may be from their tour, or maybe just for local Clevelanders, just having the Rolling Stones back here once again in 2024? Just knowing the over 60-plus years history of the group now as well.
Absolutely. I mean, Cleveland really is the rock and roll capital of the world. So to have the rock and roll band back in Cleveland, I think just says a lot, especially after so many years. I think that it's significant in so many ways. And the fact that they chose to stop here on their tour and give the fans that, and just to be able to look back on that some years from now, I know is something that's going to be so special for everyone that got to see it.
One more question before I let you go here. Just in terms of Mick and Keith, they're not just in terms of their age, but in terms of how they are still performing at these large venues still and really putting on a great show. What are your thoughts on that?
I would not have believed their age. I knew that they were both in their early 80s. They both are. Never would I have believed that they look and sound just as good as they did in the clips that I see from their younger days. It is phenomenal. I feel like it's truly something to be said about they can be, a little bit older, but still hold that same sound, and you wouldn't even know it, honestly. It was amazing.
Awesome. Olivia, thank you so much for joining me here tonight. Thank you again for your time. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Andrew. Have a good one.
Thank you. Olivia McGreevy was at the Rolling Stones concert as we get you back here to more music on The Sting.